Hello, everyone, and welcome to Your Cup of Joy. I'm your host, Ariana Joy Christie, and I am so glad that you are here. This is a space to inspire, to learn, to grow, and to challenge. Get ready to fill your cup and spread a little joy along the way. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Your Cup of Joy. And Natasha Mills, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. What an honor it is to be on your show. This is only my second time being on a podcast ever, so I don't know. I'm gonna do my best,
You're
but I'm just
awesome.
excited to have a conversation with you.
I'm so excited that you're here.
Yes.
And I just want to note that you and I connected online because you also are a twin mom. And
Yep.
I was searching for support everywhere. Like, I didn't know anything about twins. I was like, am I going crazy, or are there other people out here feeling these things that I'm feeling? And you
Yeah.
just helped and encouraged me so much.
Oh, you're so sweet. I feel the same about you, like my friend from across the nation, that I feel like we have so much in common without actually meeting in real life yet. And just to have that third sibling too, like the dynamics and the shifts,
Oh,
it's just another layer. Like I have twin mom friends that get it, but and then there's that other piece that makes it so different and dynamic. And I just see your posts and I feel like we can have that solidarity and we have so much relatability, even not having met yet. And it's just so nice to have that social media support, right? There's a lot of negativity with social media, but just having you as like a pillar in my life, even from afar, and knowing that like your posts help me and hopefully some of mine help you too, like it means a
definitely.
lot. So,
Yeah, it is
yeah,
the power of social media. Like I always say, obviously there are good things and bad things about everything in the world, but I'm just forever grateful for being able to connect with other parents, other
yeah,
people kind of in our same situations who have been able to support. And it just, there's something to be said about knowing that you're not alone. If you're having feelings about
absolutely.
anything, like it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
motherhood or work or whatever it is, but
hmm
otherwise, you just sit around and you're like, am I the only one? Is this bad? Like, I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening to me.
It's incredible. It's such a trip. This twin mom life, especially.
It is
It's so
wild.
beautiful too. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Negatives and positives. It's hard
Yeah.
and it's chaotic and it's so beautiful and fun. And
Yes.
so I want to start by asking you the question that everybody always
Yeah.
asks me when
Yeah.
they find out that I have twins. And it's, were you surprised? What was your reaction? How did you find out you were having twins? Tell me everything.
Oh my goodness. Well, it went down for me right when the world was shutting down. And it was in February that I found out. And I think March was when it officially everything was closing. But at this time, I wasn't allowed to bring Mitch into the room with me. And I had a miscarriage like 3 months before. So I knew that this pregnancy was very different. I was feeling probably three times as sick as the one that wasn't viable, but I had a feeling that something, something was off, but it didn't really cross my mind. It kind of, how we always say, could it be twin? Like it's just like a very surface level thought, but not in actuality. And then yeah, I laid down and I had the same technician who unfortunately let me know about the miscarriage. So I was like, oh gosh, you again.
Yeah.
But like I was very scared, didn't have Mitch in the room with me for support. And then I lay down and she was taking a very long time. And actually I laid down and I looked to my right and I do recall, like, how they don't let you see as she moved it away, there was sort of the, there was I saw something a bit like two of something, but again, very like that could be anything, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, Is everything okay?" And she's like, "Oh, click, 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 like, uh, yeah, everything look. Is this your first ultrasound?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah." She's like, "Well, nothing sinister. I'll tell you in a second why it's taken me so long." It's like her exact words.
No way.
Sinister. I was like, "What?" And then she goes, "There's two," and I was just
Yeah.
like the first thing that came to my mind was like sheer excitement, shock, but then a very fast feeling of you'll never travel again.
Oh,
That was the first thing I felt. A little bit mixed with, oh my God, your body, what's going to happen? Like in Hudson, my firstborn, it just this swirl of I don't know. Can you relate to those feel like
very
a
much.
lot of the excitement and in equal parts fear of like these things I'll never be able to do again with my life. What is
Mhm.
happening right now?
Or how am I gonna
So
make it through? Like, how is this
yeah.
possible? Like, we all know how babies are made, but, like, how did this happen, you
No,
know? Like,
it's
you start thinking.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you did it in reverse, right? Had
Yes.
the twins for yes. So Props to you for going for one more.
Oh my. But I sometimes think, like, because we're ours are the opposite, I feel like your situation would be more difficult in the sense that you had
Yeah,
experienced one, like, I didn't know any different, so we just kind of adapted
true.
and went with it. But if
Yes,
you
I feel
already
the same.
have a child, then to have to, like, take care of his needs and take care of your needs and take care of 2 new human beings, like, that is
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very difficult.
And
So,
honestly, that's been the hardest part for me is
yeah,
navigating his feelings. The
I can't
harder
even
than anything
imagine.
of the whole like what the twins being hard is its own thing, but navigating how difficult the adaptation has been for him and
Yeah.
myself. Yeah.
Totally. Can you
But yeah,
share with
huge
us
shock.
maybe some of the things that you've done to overcome that or to help him out or, like, what's really working for you? Because even for people who don't
Yeah.
have twins or triplets or whatever, if you have multiple kids, it is very it's
Oh,
something that I didn't anticipate about motherhood
yeah.
that is very hard is meeting all of their needs, having one-on-one time with all of them. It's so hard.
Yeah. It is. It's been the hardest part for me, and I still struggle with it daily. But I would guess just not rushing it,
Mm.
not um in the beginning, we did our family photos and he didn't really want to be part of the photos. And I
Oh.
had one, like I didn't want to push him to be in it. We kind of let him kind of get in because he's used to being an only child for 4.5 years. Everything attention was on him. And then it was really challenging. There was night terrors
Oh.
bursting in our room when we're trying to do the latch and swaddling and all through the night long, just fears of the night process, and you know what that's like. And then having a little one who's 4.5 barging in and wanting our
Mm.
attention. That was the hardest part of my life. Like
Yeah.
truly, well, one of them. And um, but just knowing that like every month gets a little easier on its own and just allowing him to help out even if he's not like I have pictures of him helping with the feeds and then helping with the
Oh.
making him feel really important in that process.
Mm.
And even though sometimes, I feel controlling and I'm just, oh, you're not doing it right. Just like let him just try. And those are some of the sweetest, like micro moments that helps in the early stages. And then I would say, like going into later when they could start walking, he really liked that they could interact a bit more and just
Aw.
like letting that process organically play out. Now he can't get enough of, I'm very lucky. I don't know if this is the same case for everyone, but the three of them do like fight and bicker, but he loves to play like hide and go seek with them. Even now that he's like 9 and or he'll be 9 in April, but like the age gap is quite significant. But he's at the point now where he'll take them downstairs and get some dry cereal and shows on, and we can even sleep in a little bit. But that took time,
Yeah.
So it was definitely a process. I didn't even think we'd get to this place, but now they are the sweetest siblings. I don't know if you see some
Oh.
of my stories, but he's reading books in bed to them, and he loves to have that place as like he thinks he's kind of the third parent. We try to keep that part in check, like lovely when you help out, but
That's so
it's been a
special.
yeah, it's been a journey for
Yeah.
sure.
It is hard, and I
Yeah.
think a good take home for people is that, like, even though having help from your kids in everyday tasks makes it take longer, it
Yeah,
is really special and so important for them to feel like they are involved. Like, my kids are
definitely.
so much happier and feel independence and they feel autonomy when we allow
Mhm.
them to do things, even though it does take a bit. And so
Mhm.
the fact that you could do that with the babies too, I think probably really made him feel fulfilled and good and that he
Yeah.
could be a
Yeah.
part of it all. So, I think that's
Definitely.
beautiful
Thank you.
and also
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, yeah, and it's those boundaries too where like even now like we definitely like doing the twin bedtime routine. Like he comes in, reads a book, and then sometimes he likes to just stay and watch and wait and like fiddle with things, and then we're kind of like, okay, Huds, you got to go back to your room now. Give us this time.
Yeah.
Because he's still got a pretty strong only child, like wants to be right there getting attention. What am I missing out on?
Mhm.
Oh, do they get to stay home from school today? Like everything is very calculated. Maybe that's his
Totally.
like Taurus energy or something, but he's very competitive. And so we do have to keep that in check too. It's like, you got to go to your room now, bud. We've read a book all together. Now it's time, so it's setting the boundary and expectation as well. It's a hard
Totally.
balance.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
very, very hard. And do you get one-on-one time with each kid? Do you prioritize that? Like, how does that work for you? Because it's so hard for
Yeah.
me.
Oh God, it's hard. I would say the twins, they work so well together. It's not often we separate them and do one-on-one time, but when we do, it is really special. I think we prioritize time with Huds more
Mhm.
intentionally. And then Mila will have dance, so I'll get my alone time with her then.
Aw,
And then Liam, we're gonna try to feel bad. He hasn't got like something specifically for him right now, but we're gonna try for swimming lesson. He's really a good swimmer. He likes to float without a life jacket already, so that's pretty cool.
aw.
So it's difficult. I wouldn't say we're there yet with the twins, and I think that's a good goal for this year, maybe.
Mhm, and I think it's also helpful to know, like, I don't know why I have so much pressure in my head to make sure that they each get one-on-one time, but, like, if I don't all the time, it's okay. Like,
Yeah,
maybe I set
yeah,
that expectation for
yeah,
myself, I don't know, but
yeah,
I'm like, "Oh,
yeah,
I'm failing, like, I've only really taken
yeah,
them out a couple of times by themselves unless it's, like, a doctor's appointment or something," and
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
"I need to do it more," but
I
it's
agree.
okay to
It's
not.
interesting. I don't know if your twins are like this too, but if I try to like go somewhere with just Mila, she's like, wait for Liam. Liam comes too. Like they want to be together. So,
Yeah, it is
or
funny,
vice versa.
and we
Yeah.
have like, ours are so different, so one really wants to be with the other wants his alone time.
Oh, no way.
So it's quite funny, like, if
Yeah.
one is at school by himself because the other has an appointment, like, he'll be like, "Where's Axel? Where'd he go?" Like,
Yeah.
he's, like, lost, but if Oscar
Oh,
leaves, Axel's like, "Eh, cool, bye."
that's so, and probably finding their own new friendships too.
Yes, which
Yeah.
is incredible. I just think one of the biggest blessings of being a mom is watching my kids create their own community and,
Yes.
like, their own relationships apart from me. Like, yes, I get to witness it and be a part of
Yeah.
it, but it's so special that they have their own
Hmm.
people. It's just so cool. I
Yeah.
love
It's
that.
very freeing. It's like you go be a little more independent. That's great for
Yeah,
you.
and it's
Yeah.
beautiful to see, like,
Yeah.
their little world that they have. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Especially seeing it with twins because we're so used to seeing that attachment and that togetherness. And yeah, I'm really
Totally.
loving, yeah. Just branch off, guys. You
Yeah.
can do
Yes,
it.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanna chat a little bit about, what we were talking about just before we started recording, which is
Yeah.
organizing,
Oh
having
boy.
some
Yeah.
type of, you know, just
System.
yes, something. So, do you have any
Oh
go-to
man.
strategies to stay organized or just to maintain your sanity with 3? Because some days I feel
Oh
like
my goodness.
I could clean my house 100 times and no one would ever know because it looks like
Oh
someone has been playing in
gosh.
it for a week.
Yeah, if I was to take you through the house right now, I'd be so embarrassed. And it's probably the realness that I should share more often, but strategies, yeah, I've got a cleaner who comes every 2 weeks,
Mm,
just keeping it just to get that part dealt with. And
yep,
I'm gonna be honest, I'm just not very or as not as organized as I would like to be.
same.
Because I have OCD and ADHD. It's a very challenging thing for me. Now, however, I can hyperfixate and want perfectionism in organization, and I know that about myself. So it's like this very daunting task to do my closet, do this, because it will
Mm,
take my whole day, and I have to prioritize like my work, like what I do as soon as I drop them off. It's like tick tock, tick tock. So
yeah.
it's all very overwhelming. And for me with ADHD, it feels like it just comes on so fast. Everything is pressing. So it's
Mm,
very hard for me to stay organized. Tips, just labeling things. We've got the twins. It's
smart,
not a very aesthetic bathroom down here, but it's like Mila's pants, Mila's shirts, Liam's pants, Liam's shirts. So we can do just quick change, get out
smart.
the door and go in the morning. Um, I've had some support, like I've hired some support upstairs to keep my bedroom more organized. And I
Mm,
think I'm gonna lean into investing other people who this comes more naturally to them and
totally.
just have them help me
Yeah.
stay focused and with systems and labels and probably a lot more decluttering and purging needing to happen this year. It's so tough with these kids and the toys that come in. And literally every single day, the morning is now they make potions. They put things on the stairs and make little forts. And it's literally 3 to 4 trails on the way out the door. And it's like,
Yeah.
pick your battles. There's zero organization. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking for tips from you.
So, one trick that I do that I think I started when the kids were at home with me,
Yeah.
so they were very young, but probably moving around and crawling around. I felt like there's always a mess because they were playing with 100 different things, and
Yeah.
anytime they went down for a nap, I was like, "I gotta clean that up." So, like, I was cleaning, like, 6 times a day,
Right.
try
Yeah.
every time we moved from room to room or switched our routine or
Yeah.
anything, and I was like, "What am I doing? Like, it's getting messy again anyways. Who is it bothering? Like, only me." So then I was like, "Okay." one time a day, I'm gonna tidy. Only one. Like, they can keep their
Yeah.
toys out all day when they're awake. When they go to sleep, I'll tidy one time, and that's all I need to do.
Yeah.
And I think it just allowed myself to have, like, a little bit of grace to know that, like, kids play with toys.
Yes,
Like,
that's so
that's
true.
okay. Like, just because we see houses in movies or magazines that look spotless doesn't mean that that's what people's lives are like.
I know. That's so
So,
true. I
we
love that
just have
one.
to release the guilt
Yeah.
and, like, let
Yeah.
them play. They're having
Yeah.
fun. Who cares?
Yeah. I think you've told me that one before and I forgot about it. So thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Because someone once commented I was showing how
Mhm.
messy my house was, and someone sent me a message and was like, "That's disgusting. Like, you have a terribly messy house, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "This is a lived-in home."
I
Like,
have lots of
my
comments like that
children are
too.
happy, and
Yeah.
that makes me happy. So, really, I don't care,
Who
you know?
cares? Yeah.
So,
Who
I think just,
cares?
like, letting it go is, like, a
Yeah.
big, big thing.
Yeah. I think
Um
it might be some generational pressure we have to just,
Yes.
I feel it from depending on who's coming over too, or maybe in-laws, or just
Yeah.
depending on what type of friend comes over, it can make you feel like you better show up a certain way or have it presented a certain way. And of course, it's different if people are coming over. You try, but like the pop buys or anything like that. Like, there's been people who definitely pride themselves on having an immaculate home, like come over and make me feel a certain way, and that's maybe my own stuff too. But um, yeah, I think it's just so liberating to hopefully like continue to free myself of that.
Yeah,
And this is a lived-in home and it's not going to be like this forever. And it's so cliche, but we probably will miss these days where there's fingerprints
totally.
on the walls.
Yep,
So,
it's
yeah.
true, and for now, like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
that's my advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I wanna ask you also, what advice would you give to parents who are either welcoming twins or who are considering to grow their family?
Yeah.
I get a lot of questions from people who are like, "Oh, my friend is having twins, like, what can I do for them?" What is, like, one piece of advice that you would give for anybody who's having
Oh,
another or multiple kids?
oh, there's so many pieces.
I know.
My mind goes to like gear and like must-haves. I don't know
Yeah.
if that, or do you think in more like
No, anything.
well, initially, the Twinsy pillow, I got so much use in
My
that one.
number one twin item.
It's so good. I mean, not everyone will breastfeed, but even just to have them like there on you and propped up on that little pillow, I think that's such a genius invention.
So smart.
Um, I mean, I was a big fan of those Milky Mate bottle holders. Those are a little bit
Mm.
controversial, but I loved them. It gave me the ability to quickly use the washroom, or like, I know again, it's like teach their own, but I
Yeah,
loved having the ability to just have that little bottle prop is what they are.
totally.
And it's a little pillow, and I liked those a lot. And also just to like embrace yourself truly for the most incredible, chaotic season of your life. And every week is so fleeting. Every day is so beautiful. Like, it's miraculous. I have never felt more like stripped down and at the same time built back up in resilience. Like, it's
Aw.
truly the most incredible thing of my life is being a twin mom, of course, to my firstborn too. And it's just like such a completeness to it. And of course, there's going to be fears and adversity, but like, I'm so proud of the women I've become, like resilient
Mm.
in becoming a twin mom. Like, I feel pretty badass, don't
You
you?
are. You should.
Yeah.
It's incredible and extraordinary. Like, it really
Yeah.
is so wild, and I feel when I think back to my birth, people
Yeah.
ask me all the time about, "How was your birth? What was your birth story?" All these things,
Yeah.
and one of the things that I will always remember is after I pushed the first one out,
Yeah.
people were like, "Oh, weren't you just, like, exhausted and that's terrible, you have to do it again?" I was like, "No, I
Yeah.
literally felt like a superhero, like, I could do anything in the world in that moment," and
Yeah.
I think it just goes to show, like,
Yeah.
parenthood, motherhood, like, it's just this beautiful, incredible thing, and it is
Yeah.
badass,
It really
and we should
is.
all know that.
Yeah, and a lot of people say things, and I think we've made comments together about this too, but like, I think it's just it's unfortunate that so many people, it's, I know it boils down to they just don't know what to say, but like, we're thinking of having another, but with my luck it'll be twins, or I hope it's not twins, or I kill myself if I had twins. Like, I've had these comments said to me and on the
Oh, yeah.
regular, and from like grown adults and from younger people, and I get it, it's not for everyone. But if that is you, just know that like it is such a blessing, and equal parts extremely challenging will be met with the biggest and most incredible joy of your life, like in
Totally.
twos, in double formation.
Totally.
So as hard as it is double, it's equally empowering and incredible double. So
I couldn't
it's
agree more. I
yeah.
remember someone said to me, like, when I was pregnant and told them I was having twins, they were like, "That's my worst nightmare." And I was like,
I hate
"Okay, like,
it. I hate
thanks."
it.
You
I'm
know?
sorry. I just feel like we need to normalize not saying that to twin moms because they are becoming less uncommon. I feel like more and
Yeah,
more people are coming out with this announcement, and it might be something in the water. I don't know. I know there's
it
all
is
different
more
ways you
common.
can, yeah. And
Yeah,
so more people should feel, a little more reluctant to say things like that because, yeah, it's an amazing thing. And,
agreed.
might happen to you.
Yeah, you
The,
never know.
the
Expect
person
the
who's,
unexpected.
yeah, just kidding.
I wanna switch gears a
Mm,
little bit and talk about
mhm.
being a working mom,
Oh, yeah.
because having a career and a family, I know firsthand can be so difficult. There are so many struggles that come with it
Oh,
all and
yeah.
trying to balance it all, and
Yes.
the word balance is kind of a funny one for me because I feel
I
like
know.
nothing is ever equal, you know? And so you wear so many hats. You're a mom, you're a content creator, an entrepreneur, a community advocate, a friend, a wife. How do you manage it
Yeah.
all?
Oh, gosh. I just go, I follow the good feeling. I
Mm,
follow where my passion is, where I
amazing.
feel motivated to get going with something for the day. It's always the kids first.
Mhm.
And then it's like this I'm just I think it's really amazing when moms or stay-at-home moms. It's the most incredible thing and job in the world. I just know for me, I'd have a huge vacancy and void in my heart if I wasn't still thriving to become the career woman I was before I had these kids, even if there's
Mm,
3. And I found a way to do that with just showing up raw and authentic online. I didn't actually plan for it to become my full-time thing, but I did show up in a way that a community grew and brands were offering me money if it aligns with my lifestyle to share their products. And I think my universe allowed me this stepping stone of flexibility and like leaning into the following the good feeling. What I've always loved is marketing. I've always been in sales, professional corporate sales, but I've always been drawn to marketing and wanting to lean towards marketing in that sales position. And people would always like applaud me for that, but they're always like pushing me to get on that sales grind. And I was kind of course, sales and marketing go hand in hand, but I just
yeah.
love the creativity that goes into knowing your consumer. Like I have my degree in bachelor's in psychology, so I'm just very infatuated by knowing and understanding people and knowing what makes them motivated and what they like
Mhm.
and how to make things exciting. And so I found a way to like make it work as a stay-at-home working mom. And yeah, I just think if you're not satisfied with what you're doing in life, or you think there could be you get to a position in your motherhood where there might be a bit more for you, then explore that. Like make time for yourself to follow things outside of this role of motherhood because it's so all encompassing and it's incredible, but there's got to be something more for you too on the side. Yeah.
Totally, and I think it's just so empowering and wonderful that you are able to know, like, I need something for me too, and I think that that is okay. It's sometimes I almost felt shameful to say it
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
always wanted to be a mom. So when we had the babies, Mike was like, "Maybe you'll stay home with them. Like, you've always wanted this. Let's make it work so that you can have the time with them that you want." And
Yeah.
after a while, he would come home from work and he would want quiet and relaxation, and I'd be excited to see
Yeah.
an adult, like, I can have real
Yes.
conversation, and it was just this we were not aligned, and I was, like, almost resentful and
Yeah.
jealous of him that he got to go and have real life conversations with adults and, get dressed in his work clothes and go out of the
Oh,
house. And it was in that moment that I was like, "I know that I will be a better mom if I also have something for me
absolutely.
apart from that." And
Yeah.
so, again, not for everyone. I think if you can be a stay-at-home mom and you can really focus on your kids like that, it's incredible. I
Hmm.
just knew I couldn't. I was just
I would.
mean. I was angry. I was bitchy
Yeah.
because I was I wanted something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. And
And
yeah,
I think that that's
absolutely.
okay, and
Yeah,
it's good to
absolutely.
know. And I think if you reflect on yourself and the things that you want in life, it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can have both.
If exactly, and it can ebb and flow. There's times where I'm like,
Mm.
maybe I'll take them out of daycare and stay home with them for 6 months and try that and just do a little
Yeah.
bit of things on the side. But they're so well acquainted to their daycare right now. They've made these incredible relationships and they are
Oh,
so ready for the pivot to kindergarten, which is I cannot believe happening.
I can't believe I
Not
just
this
registered my
September.
kids.
Yeah.
I'm crying.
Next, is it next September? Because ours are the same age. No, yours are a year younger. But because mine are 4 turning 5 in August,
Okay,
so
yeah.
I've lost track of time with the year change. But
Yeah.
honestly, like I'm so excited to pick them up at the end of the day, and I think that
Aw.
time, now that I've got a refreshed set of eyes, it just makes it that much more like meaningful and profound to like have no distractions, put the phone and the work away is my new boundary, and just like be with them rather than all day long trying to multitask and do a bunch of things. And we know they'd get more screen time and just
Yeah.
not be getting those interactions and the development that I know they're getting at daycare. And I know it's not for everyone and to each their own. It's just for me. We're busy career people, and that's the life we've chose for right now. I
Yeah.
know I'd make it work if it wasn't for me anymore. Like if I was staying home with them, we'd make it dynamic and fun. And
Of
it's
course.
just, yeah, I'm really happy. I just know that we all wear different hats, and like my identity is very much wrapped into like seeing where my career growth can go. Yeah.
I
So,
think that's amazing.
yeah.
And I in my position, I just love that it allows me to have conversations with my kids about what's happening. Like, I'm not hiding from them the things that I'm doing. So whether it's
Yeah.
work or
Yeah.
friendships or going to the gym or anything like that,
Yeah.
I always have open communication with them of what I'm doing
Yes.
and
Yeah.
the why. Because to me, I think that that's instilling in them that when they want something, they work hard to get it and they will get it. And you can do anything that you want to do. And all of these really important things that are of value to me,
Yes.
I get to showcase to them, and then they start to communicate that back.
I love
Like, they
that.
really start to understand, like, the other, day I went to the gym and I came home, like, during nap time, and they had woken up before I got home,
Yeah.
and I came home and they said, "Mom, did you go to the gym?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "So that you can get strong and you can play with us?" And I was like, "Yes."
I
Like,
love
"Yes,
that.
100%. That's why," you know?
Yes.
So, I just think it's so cool that they're excited that, then mommy and daddy can go and play soccer with them or skate on the ice rink with them, and it's all good things for all of us to do, and it
Yeah.
encourages them. So,
I
I think it's
really
really beautiful.
I love that. I don't think I've heard it in that way before in terms of the why for each of the things that mean
Yeah.
a lot to me. And I think that's a huge tip that I'll take away from this because a lot of the time I'll do my home workouts and I'm not really sharing why, but just letting them know I need 20 more minutes. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think if you do start to share that why, like, then they start to think, "Why am I doing this?" When they're choosing an activity or to do something in the day, and I
hmm,
just think it's such a good reflection and
yeah,
modeling behavior we do every day without even noticing. So I think when we really reflect and are more intentional about the behavior we're modeling, it creates beautiful conversations and
yeah,
instills these values in them,
absolutely. Yeah.
which I really, really love.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So I want to talk a little bit about self-care too, because
Yeah.
I started this podcast because I was not taking care of myself and I was stuck in just the all-encompassing like motherhood. I was flying by the seat of my pants. I wasn't
Yeah.
doing anything to its fullest because I was
Yes.
just always busy.
Are you still
And
in
so
real
life just
estate?
kind of Yes,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
I know. So life just kind of happened and I didn't have a plan and I wasn't really thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I realized like I totally lost who I was. Like yeah, I was doing lots of things, but I didn't none of it was for me.
I love
It was all because it was a necessity and because
Yeah.
other people needed it. And
Yeah.
so I think I really realized that like, whoa, I've told myself this narrative that self-care is selfish. If I'm doing something that takes me away from the kids or my work or my family or my relationship, then it's selfish. And I
Yeah.
wanted to flip that narrative and really showcase that no, I show up as a better version of myself in all areas of life if I'm filling my cup even just a little bit first.
Yes, I
Like we don't have to
completely
think in
agree.
such extremes.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
self-care something that you prioritize? And does it play a role in your life?
Oh my gosh, yes, but if I'm being really honest, a lot of my self-care, um, endeavors are intertwined with my career in terms of content creation, and oftentimes it
Yeah.
is work. So it's a bit muddled for me.
Yeah.
Because with a lot of these treatments I do, it's getting back and grinding out stories and reels and seeing if I'm providing them value and meeting my end of it. So is it really, of course, that initial lay down treatment or whatever it is, but am I, or if I'm going on, let's say a vacation with the family, we're going to Tofino next week, or maybe it's the following week, but again, it's a sponsored. I'm constantly kind of working and plugging away content. And if I'm being real for this year, I have to create more pockets of true, unattached, no string. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
self-care. And for me, that's been
Totally.
a lot of tubs. Like I'll
Mm.
get in the tub and get my body warm and try to
Mm.
put my phone away and just like breathe. And sometimes I'll do that 3 times a day. It's just my like
Amazing.
soothing self-comfort. Um, that's the way that I like feel most held and supported. Or it's asking Mitch to kind of take the morning breakfast and getting them so I can have 10 to 15 minutes to kind of just like I do my 10-minute guided meditation in the morning, and do my skincare. And just like for me as a woman, I need that a bit more than how men can kind of just run downstairs and they don't seem
Yeah.
to do anything. And that he'll find his own time. Usually he's like an evening shower, I need a minute kind of guy. So when I give him that, it's that balance of. And so for me, those are the two most intentional, true self-care moments of the day. And I'm working on doing a bit more journaling and like reading, instead of scrolling. Scrolling, it
Mhm.
seems like a self-comfort thing or self-care, but it's not, but it is an
Yeah,
escape. It really is.
totally.
Yeah. And I don't want it to be a form of self-care, but it feels like it. And I feel like it tricks us into thinking it's self-care because we can
Yeah.
unattach, but it's so addicting. And yeah, I'm so caught up in the news and the world events right now. It's really scary,
Mhm.
unprecedented times. So I feel like I could use a double down on self-care right now rather than scrolling and seeing seems like every day something new is happening in the world. And I think that's negating my bucket. What I truly need is to
Totally.
be lifted up with um nervous system restorement, not depletion. Like it feels very dysregulated a lot of the time because of all of the things we're doing online and the demands of these kids,
Mhm.
and then having a lot of these self-care things being masked by and work. At the end of the
Literally.
day, how much do I really have? I think I could really work on, and that's my goal for this year is firm boundaries, less screen time, more true self-care, meaning
I love that.
I don't have anything to post or deliverables at the end.
Yes. Yes, I love that
Yeah.
so much, and I think something that you noted too is really important to say again, that it doesn't have to take a long time, like, it can be 10 or 15
Yeah.
minutes. I sometimes think in these big extremes of like, "Oh, self-care, like, I have to go for a massage or I have to go for a spa day," but really, sometimes it's just, like, when it's not this freezing cold outside, like,
Yeah.
going and walking around my backyard by myself for a minute. Sometimes it's just, like, a little bit of
Yes.
quiet or
Yeah.
having my coffee hot.
Yeah.
So, I think that it's really good to just make sure that we're mindful and noticing that, like, yes, I'm taking a minute for myself, and that's totally cool.
Yes, absolutely. Going for a walk, leaving the phone at home, breathing
Mhm.
in the sun and taking a minute to like look at the water, the body of water wherever you are. Like
Yeah.
for me, it's the ocean, just like a 10-minute walk away. And I feel like my soul is calling all the time to like go be present there and listen to maybe a
Mhm.
podcast on the way. It's hard to completely escape the phone, right? But
Yes.
um
That's amazing. I love
yeah.
that. What's maybe one new way that you would like to practice self-care or fill your cup this year?
Oh gosh. Yeah. Just making more intentional time to, like I mentioned, with the
Mhm.
just no strings attached type of self-care, but definitely, oh gosh, I really am enjoying the sauna cold plunge thing right now. Yeah,
Love that.
and we have one that's ridiculously close to us that we only just first experienced last weekend for our birthday, and
Oh.
I wanna go there more often. I really am enjoying the way that that's making me feel. So it's just like being mindful of like how is this making me feel before you're like running to scroll and like distorting how something has really uplifted your body and provided a sense of rejuvenation. Like just maybe experimenting with new things like that like really fill me up
Mhm.
and making that sort of like a weekly or bi-weekly ritual.
Love
Um
that.
yeah, and I'm gonna try to eat as clean as I can this year too, and I'm not drinking this month. So
Nice.
just
Try
little things.
January.
We'll see
I
how
love
long it
it.
goes. Yeah, yeah,
That's amazing. Good for
yeah.
you.
Thank you.
That's so great. And you've built this incredible community online, which I really, really love. I
Thank
think,
you.
you know, obviously because of the twins, like that was is a great way for people to connect, but it's not only twin parents. You've really
Yeah.
created this awesome, awesome community. What inspired you to start creating content?
Oh my gosh, Hudson, my very first. So
Mm.
I was Miss Mills, my account for a while.
Aw.
And as soon as I had Hudson, I felt so I used to work for PepsiCo. I was a sales
Cool.
manager for 7 years.
Wow.
And I just didn't, I felt like I was so something was missing. I needed a creative outlet. So I started this blog and we called it Mama Mills. Something just kind of clicked. And then I started like I love writing. I'm a creative writer. So I started doing some entries there, but I felt very inspired by my motherhood and just like those initial
Mm,
pivotal changes of having my firstborn. And my posts were more, I wouldn't say surface level, but kind of just fashion and keeping it real safe and sharing a little bit of the joys, but nothing as deep as like with the whole transition of having twins during a pandemic. That's when I really leaned into like, I'm isolated. I don't know if we can swear here, but I
yeah.
am isolated as fuck right now. I am going through it, the trenches,
Mhm.
I just started writing from the heart and like I did some imagery with photographers that are very talented and it literally just like extracted these emotions and feelings that I needed from a therapeutic standpoint to get out of me.
Mm,
And people were sharing it and couldn't believe I was like posting such like the coupling of very beautiful imagery with some of these words that I felt like were pulled out of me as like a visual person with a creative writing the background. That's when I really realized that there's a lot of people out here in this world from all flocks of countries and all over, right? People from Germany saying they're crying on the bathroom floor right now and
yeah.
found my post and I helped them. Like, those
Yeah.
moments where you're like, wow, this feels fulfilling. This feels more
Mhm.
important than a sponsored ad. And a goal of mine would be to lean into posting more like this year. It's hard to be vulnerable all the time, but
It is.
um it's been this balance of, like I said, I love marketing. And so, like, getting to have creative freedom, working with brands that are aligned and making an
Mm,
income that way. And then the balance of like showing up as well with this other stuff that people, I think, follow me for. It's
yeah.
that delicate balance. It's challenging, but that's why I love it. It's allowed me a flexibility that could never have in the corporate world. It allows me to be creative. And I feel like when I'm on my phone capturing, creating, it really is coming from a different place than scrolling. I'm like dancing
Mm,
like a painter would be like in terms of like this is so neat. I'm going to bring the audience in this way
yeah.
and really show up differently as a unique creator in that sense, you know?
Amazing. I
Yeah.
love that so much, and I think it's really, like you said, so fulfilling when you connect with like-minded people or when you know that something has resonated with others, and
Yeah,
I think from my perspective, it's very therapeutic. Like, it is I always say it's, like, selfish for me, like, even though, yes, other people are saying that it's helping them, in turn, it's helping me,
absolutely.
which
Yes,
I think is really beautiful.
I couldn't agree more. It's an incredible feeling when, and it's not
Mm,
even from like this like needing validation, but it's a strong solidarity feeling where it's like I feel so alone right now. Is anybody
yeah.
with me in feeling this way? And then to
Mhm.
have so many people kind of chime in that they needed that is like a warm hug.
Yeah. I
It's the
totally
best,
agree.
next second best thing anyway. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I want to ask you a little bit about Create with Confidence. Can you
Oh,
maybe
thank
share with
you.
us Yeah, of course, what that is, how it came to be? Tell us everything.
Yeah. So it's like a 101 creator course for aspiring creators or small businesses. It's higher level. So somebody who might be posting a little bit on Instagram, they're trying to grow their small business or a little bit confused as to like how to make reels that don't take 2 hours or how
Mhm.
I, grew from those initial days where I started the blog to now is this like my full-time business for 4 years. So I've kind of condensed it into this self-paced 15 chapter evergreen course to go through branding, like how I would recommend kind of creating a niche for yourself
Hmm,
and creating an audience, whether it's 15 followers, 100 followers. Like if 100 people are staying in a room with you, that's a big deal. So people shouldn't feel discouraged if they don't have
agreed.
a lot of followers. Like you can show up and build in so many different ways and create conversions and sales, and brands are looking for micro influencers. Or if you're a small business, like don't be like, I feel like a lot of small businesses are of course going to hire a social team or somebody to help them with that, but how liberating to be able to do some stuff on your own too. So I'm
Totally.
kind of talking to both parties in this course. And so branding and then capturing, kind of like what I was saying, how I love to draw the audience in. Like I share
Mhm.
firsthand how I go and approach like a client, whether it be like a restaurant or a service, like how I kind of capture it in different chunks and then editing like a pro. So it's branding,
Mm.
capturing, and editing all condensed in this 15-part course for 99 bucks. So it's pretty affordable. I just don't promote it enough. And it's
That's
just, it was
amazing.
my first try at something like this, like a passive course. It takes a lot of work and effort. And now I'm excited to do maybe more with different,
Yeah,
yeah. But
I love that.
yeah, so that's available on my website. And
Amazing.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm very proud of myself for getting it out in the world because it's my first baby, but there'll be
I
more to
love
come.
that. I
Yeah.
think that's so, so cool, and for anybody who is, like, wanting to show up more online, it's amazing to have support and just even, like, a bit of advice to get through that. So
Yeah.
for aspiring creators or small
Yeah.
businesses, what's maybe the most common mistake that people make when starting out?
Oh gosh. Feeling like if it doesn't happen right away, it's a waste of time, or if like someone's offering you 50 bucks, like forget it. So in terms of aspiring creators, you got there's a period of like paying your dues. Like I did a lot of reps before I started creating
Yeah,
an income. And I think that
yeah.
you have to have some humility with like being open to just like getting product, some PR stuff, and leaning into, what makes that product great, why you've chosen that, why it aligns with you and your brand. Like don't just take anything. Find something that's
Mhm.
unique to you and your brand, what you stand for, and offer, a proposal like why this would be a great fit for you and an alignment for the brand. So just it's yeah, it's a lot, but nothing comes overnight. Like it really
True.
is, it takes time. And then from a small business standpoint, just being open to like just getting content out there and not expecting perfection. Like just be consistent and yeah, it's like social media isn't easy, but it can be a lot simpler than spending 3 hours on a reel. Like you just have to have a bit of a plan.
Yeah, I think
And
that you're
yeah,
right, and not this perfectionate like, who cares? If it's, like, 1 second off, nobody's gonna be like, "Oh my
yeah,
gosh, did you see that?" Like, only
yeah,
you will really notice, and I think
yes,
that's a huge thing for people to really go with, like, just try, what's the worst thing that happens?
yes,
Really.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Can you share with us maybe, like, the biggest takeaway from your course that could help somebody, that's starting out their content creation journey?
Biggest takeaway is, oh my gosh.
Or just one takeaway, yeah.
I think starting to organize your content. Take
Mm,
document everything. Like document in terms of like what it's all in there in the course, but like map out what your brand is, what your small business is, what you stand for, what who your target audience is, who are you speaking to. Then throughout your day, content is everything, and having B-roll on hand is so whether you're aspiring creator or a small business, start organizing things, putting them into folders in your phone so that when you're
I'm
ready to
so
do
bad at that.
when you're ready to do the reel, it's just
Uh,
it's drop and paste. And
yeah.
honestly, some of the configurations out there are pretty automatic now with reels. Like they can kind of splice it
Mhm.
up for you, but I've got tips and tricks in the course to make that more simple or um, finesse it in a way that is obviously going to be a lot faster than what you're probably used to. But yeah, just I think organization it's something I should work on too every day. But when you got like an hour, having
Mhm.
that organized as like, okay, sentimental motherhood, just everything that could work in terms of that. Like, because if
Mm,
you see a
smart.
trending audio or you feel inspired by some viral video and you want to recreate it, you don't want to be searching back like forever for a different thing because it's
Yeah.
as easy as finding some quick B-roll of you with like a mum bun and doing the dishes and feeling overwhelmed or whatever it is. And just having that, like, oh, set up a try. I think Sarah, the birth papaya, said to me, like, just set up a tripod in the house while you're doing dishes, and like, that could be like the reel that takes off, and you just like
Literally.
don't even overthink it, right? And so just
Mhm.
like, yeah, having some words, some like captions or thoughts that might come up, have them in your notes ready. And this is,
Yes.
again, I'm speaking to myself for advice because I know I need to do this more often. But
Mhm.
again, I overthink it. And in the course, it helps with the technical stuff, like how to get yourself set up for success. But I think at the end of the day, I have to get out of my own way too for perfectionism and consistency. Like, get more content out. Don't expect everything to go off. Just like keep being consistent, do the reps, and the right community will find you. And
Yeah.
that's how you grow.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. And what motivated you to want to help small businesses and aspiring influencers?
Oh my goodness. There seems to be a demand for it. There seems to be a lot of people confused as to where to turn, how to do this
Mhm.
thing. And organically, people kind of came into my inbox asking if they could hire me for consulting one-on-one. And I might do some of that, but it kind of occurred to me that I don't have this extra time, but maybe I could create this course to start
Amazing.
out. Yeah. And we'll
Yeah.
see
I love that.
if I can help people. And definitely, I've had a huge response so far of people that are like, "Wow, you've simplified, XYZ for me." I think going forward, I need to lean more into the specifics for either small business or aspiring creators because it's broad, high level for everyone in this course. And I think it's a great stepping stone for people who are what either flocks wanting to just kind of get started. And now I've got all these ideas to branch out with more courses. So
So amazing.
yeah.
I love
Yeah,
it.
thanks,
Well,
Faye.
thank you so much for
Oh,
sharing with us, Natasha.
thank you.
Normally, I end with some rapid fire. Are you okay with
Oh
that?
gosh, yeah, sure.
Okay. Your go-to coffee order.
Oh, Starbucks, brown sugar shaken oat.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Dream partnership for 2025.
Oh, Canadian Tire?
Amazing.
Lululemon,
Uh,
either.
mo
Yeah, either
Oh,
one.
that would be great
Yeah,
too. Yes.
yeah.
Morning or night person?
Night.
And favorite TV show?
I want to say Friends came up, but I'm loving Grey's Anatomy. I've only gotten to
So
season
good.
7, so I don't. He hasn't even died yet. I know that's a spoiler that
Oh
I haven't hit yet,
my.
but
You're gonna love it. I've watched it twice. It's so good. Yeah, amazing.
yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me today. Natasha, where can people find you and connect with you?
Oh, at Mama Mills blog, so MOMMA Mills blog, and then my website is mamamillsblog.com, and then all the details for my creator course will be there.
Yay, perfect. Thank you so
Thank
much for joining
you.
us today and for sharing with us. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Your Cup of Joy. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation as much as I did. And if this episode resonated with you, or if you've been loving this show, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you are listening. Your support helps the podcast grow, it helps it reach more people, and it means the absolute world to me. So keep filling your cup with joy, and I will see you next week.